All right, welcome back, everyone. We've got more NA Dota coming your way, and I think this one is one of the more exciting matches that people are really looking forward to, right? Because we've got the Eternal Envy squad, Flying Penguins, going up against your favorite Breaky, Complexity.
I mean, honestly, at this point, it's my favorite, and he's just sort of grudgingly sitting here like, I have all of these complicated emotions, and I would like to be left alone with them.
Have emo Breaky CPK over here.
Emo CPK?
Emo CPK.
It's a roller coaster with this team. It really is.
Breaky EMO. There we go. But yeah, we're pretty excited. This is one of the teams that we didn't expect to do quite as well as they had been faring earlier, taking a series off of EG. And eventually, you know, they did get knocked down. But I think that last game that we saw between them and J Storm was more of an outdraft than anything else. What do you think?
Yeah, like especially the last game that I mean, when I thought about it later, I'm also like, you know, one of the things that I brought up during the first series is whoever is going to lose this one is going to be tilted.
Yes.
And I think that's a fair assessment of what happened in game 2. Like the draft wasn't very great, and the way they tried to play their way out of it was very impressive, actually. So if Flying Penguins can show that kind of fighting spirit again, but this time with a draft that actually allows them to fight, bring it. We have a big series on our hands.
We have a good series, and honestly, again, part of me wants to favor Flying Penguins going into this even, but with that in mind, I do think this is probably one of the more even matchups we get the chance to cast throughout this whole event. So could definitely see it going either way. Complexity, of course, still using Monkeys Forever as their stand-in. Great player, definitely not their usual, and I go back to as great of a player he is, he usually plays off lane, so we're kind of seeing them force a couple of picks, which has worked out, the Batrider specifically, in that support role. Nature's Prophet, another one. Neither one of those banned so far, so wouldn't be surprised, but we do have a Tiny.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting, the fact that Monkey's usually, you know, playing that off-lane role, but is playing, you know, position 5 on this team. And these heroes actually have been working out for them for the most part, being able to have him running either the Batrider as the position 5 or the Nature's Prophet as that. And in some cases, he becomes so farmed that he might as well have been a core in the first place. But it does give them a lot of kind of wiggle room. Tiny has been one of those heroes, though, that has been super hotly contested. It's either going to get banned or picked up, because of the fact that he's just got a really good kit, especially if you run him as that position 4. We've seen so many Tinies now taking advantage of bad positioning, tossing back to their team, and just watching them feast upon the food that he has found, so to speak. But this is actually, was it Flying Penguins that was consistently running the Juggernaut Lich opening? I don't think so.
No, I'm thinking it was Complexity themselves, actually.
Complexity, yeah,
Might have been, yeah. I feel like several teams have definitely taken advantage of this this combination, though. It's just very, very potent in the laning phase, and of course, if you want first blood, it's, you know, what better way to do it than a Juggernaut spin with a massive slow.
If you pick up Slardar here, you have a lane that I know guaranteed beats this one.
Yep, there's nothing like a toss. Nothing like a toss with the Slardar into Crush.
Yeah, you have so much disable in that dual lane, like by the time... Okay, they go for the Nature's Prophet instead, so that's the Monkey's special, I presume, although you never know, right?
Well, you figure too, right? Because usually Monkeys is he's played basically 3 different heroes throughout this tournament. It's been either the Lich, the Nature's Prophet, or the Batrider. So with the Lich being picked up by Flying Penguins, I think they're getting concerned, like, well, we better pick the Monkeys hero now because his position 5 pool is dwindling for us right now. So I think that's why we're seeing that pick at this moment.
And I think it's a good one. I mean, there's not like it's like you pick up Nature's Prophet here, and all of a sudden, well, now Flying Penguins is going to counter it to all hell. You know, it's a support first off, so you don't want to go too all out with that in the first place. But again, he's a very comfortable Nature's Prophet player. We know the space that he can create on the map. You know, good synergy with Tiny in that sense. So I think it just makes a lot of sense for Complexity.
10 seconds remaining.
And of course, it doesn't have to be a support. That's the other thing you have to think about. If you actually don't pick cores that deal well against it as cores, they can still promote it.
Yeah.
Does hide their cards a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be a Monkey's nature. So. All right, so the ban on the Faceless Void. There's not going to be a Darkseer in this game. We've seen so much of that hero. So I'm going to have to find some other options for the side of Flying Penguins here for Laposa.
I know that he's played Grimstroke as well, so that's another one. Now, speaking of that, of course, there's Flying Penguins could potentially get to themselves. So you can go back to with the Lich Grimstroke combo.
I do think it's funny, they actually banned out Snake King's Coddle. That was very heavily favored yesterday, and did a great job until that one moment when he just didn't have buyback.
Yep.
Dire team
The Nature's Prophet also makes sense into the Lich, by the way, just because having these extra treants sitting around is going to do a lot of work against the bounces of the Lich ultimate. And then Complexity batting out the Gunner Ember Spirit.
Yeah, I think you absolutely cannot leave that in the pool after we've seen how hard he can carry with that.
That man knows how to roll.
They do have the Kunkka still in there. That is a Gunner specialty as well. And didn't we see a Gunner Puck at one point too? That was that the last game though?
Yeah, that was the last game, so he never really got to show off there.
Right.
That was a bit of a sad adventure. He was up against the Timber Saw and his lane just got completely murdered.
Ursa's been showing up in these bans a bit now from these teams, so no different here with Flying Penguins with that 5th ban. And now they're to pick. Yeah, you mentioned the Kunkka. Limp also does play Kunkka himself quite a bit, so they could even contest for that.
Oh, that's true. With the tiny pickup, Limp is like the tiny player.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could play tiny on top of that, so.
There's a lot of flexibility with that draft. Oh,
wait, I'm going forward to pick it up as I'll be.
Got ourselves a Sven.
I'll just be pretending again that everything else is yours now.
It's a lot of armor coming out here. We've got the Frost Shield, you've got the War Cry coming out. Gonna have to do a decent amount of damage to chew through all that.
Yeah, and as we've seen with Universe in the previous series, just because this Sven is an offlaner doesn't mean he's not a core.
True.
It depends though. You can also build him very utility based. You know, just go to his team aura items. Lifestealer, so I'm not sure if we've actually, because we have seen both of these sort of faster carries on the board more often now, but I'm not sure if we've seen them in the same game up against each other yet.
There's been so much Dota we've been covering.
Lifestealer against Juggernaut specifically?
Yes.
I think we have, right?
We probably have. I guess it doesn't stand out necessarily, but.
Yeah, because on one hand it makes sense that we would have seen it. On the other hand, I can't recall now what like the natural progression is here.
I'm glad we don't have a terrible.
Yeah.
All right, Lelis Enigma. This is my boy Lelis here on this offlaner, and he is quite skilled with it. We saw actually he had a really good play. Which game was it? He had one game where like you had he was sitting up on the high ground and he used it at just like the right amount where he's able to draw him up into the base.
I do remember that.
Well
that was against a Viper.
This probably means that this Sven is going to join the tri-lane, and then we might have an aggressive tri-lane over on the side of Flying Penguins, because normally you'd want to leave that Enigma alone, get his levels up, draw the wave back, and deny as much farm as possible to the enemy's safe lane. And Nature's Prophet is not really a tri-lane support. He deals a lot of damage, but I'm not sure if I'd see a tiny NP Lifestealer lane winning over Jugglitch Sven.
I mean, we've seen some weird stuff coming out for this patch already. Definitely not what you would expect, but again, we would never have expected a Batrider position 5.
Can I have this Sven, please?
Yes. Doom is still there, and I do go back to Batrider. Batrider actually seems half decent here for Complexity as far as an offlane Batrider even. If you want to match him up against Enigma in a 1v1 lane, I think that could actually combat pretty well. The BKB Piercing Lasso against both Juggernaut and Enigma sounds good, so. But then there's, Doom, again, the other one.
There's a couple answers. Especially to the Enigma that are still left in the pool if they want to go for their, the offlane. There's also, you know, the Kip special.
Beastmaster.
The Beastmaster.
No, I was about to say the Batrider sounds like exactly the right pick here, and they can still vary this one if they'd like to. So it's still not even guaranteed.
Yeah, it could interchange.
An offlane bet.
Yeah. Between him and the Nature's Prophet, I suppose.
Seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the idea of. I mean, we've seen position 5 Nature's Prophet before plenty, so I do think that Complexity could definitely get away for that. And again, I go back to just the laning phase, wanting to match up Batrider against Enigma. here,
Yes.
it seems like it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I also want to stress here that you know we're showing him on his off lane right now, opposite an enemy tri lane, but it's more than likely that both of these teams are gonna, well, at least the Radiant are going to try to get the matchup with the Enigma. The Dire are probably going to try to make the Bad Rider play into the tri lane, which is exactly the situation where Bad Rider does not want to be.
All right, so we just need the final pickups here for the mid laners. The Limp versus Gunnar.
So Gunnar Kunkka was still in the pool. We've seen Limp play a lot of Lina.
Yeah, lots
recently,
of Lina coming out.
but of course he's also a Kunkka player. Like for complexity though,
Radiant
Lina would make a lot of sense. They're going for the Pugna instead over on Flying Penguins. Who is the last pick again?
Flying Penguins has the last pick. OD is still there. And now with that Pugna ban opens up a bit more. For either team, I think they could use OD actually.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of OD get picked up too, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it potentially banned here from complexity if they're not going to
10 seconds
find a way to
remaining.
deal with it.
Yeah, so both of these teams have a solid front line already. Complexity is
5
also,
seconds remaining.
well, with the Nature's Prophet, they're going to be slightly better at sieging towers, so they don't necessarily need that anymore. I guess they're thinking about picking up the OD themselves right about now. So it's very hard for Flying Penguins to jump them, whereas at least for Complexity, you know, they could jump the OD on the backlines if they wanted to.
Yeah, I was looking over at Flying Penguins, right, because it's a lot of pressure on an Enigma if you're the only one that's going to be doing the initiation, but you do have a Sven, and I'm assuming he's going to get some form of like a Blink Dagger or whatnot to get in the thick of things, and then of course, you know, follow up with the massive team fight. But it does feel like Complexity a little bit better on that side, obviously with having the Tiny Nature's Prophet and the Bat Rider. And also the fact that, you know, you've got some really good vehicles for Lifestealer in this game. Talked about the Lifestealer bomb in the last game where my brain completely went sideways. I'll admit it, you know, it happens.
Team pick.
But okay, so we get the last pick Earth Spirit. So is this a mid-prophet?
A mid-tiny.
Mid-tiny?
Or mid-tiny.
I think I would go with mid-tiny,
right?
yeah. Well, again, it ultimately could just be whatever they final pick. Like
True.
if I'm Flying Penguins,
They don't
now
have to
they're just-
decide yet, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be mid potentially anything, but maybe an Earth Spirit. So it.
Lim Tiny is such a treat to watch, too.
Yeah, no,
He knows this hero.
he's
Inwards,
him
backwards.
and his brother are
Up
again, notorious for this hero.
5
So yeah, I think that last pick has a lot to do with that. That they're kind of keeping their options open. Earth Spear for Z-Freak here, very likely. And as we always go back to, love to see Z-Freak on these playmaking heroes. Earth Spear definitely is that. So I actually like this quite a bit, and it makes Flying Penguins sit here like, what mid do we go? Because no matter what, they could swap things up.
I like this draft a lot from Complexity just because of the fact that it can be so adaptive.
Kunkka's still there, the Gunnar Kunkka. And I could almost see the argument for that in that let's get our mid player to something he's very comfortable on, not knowing 100% what his matchup's going to be, and then, you know, deal with it whenever we figure that out. So
Yeah, for me, that looks like the best solution as well. Not necessarily the Kunkka, but just, all right, you know what? We are not sure what they're going to do. Stick to our own plan. As long as we don't get countered too hard, and that's usually very hard anyway if you have so many like possibilities to switch it up. A flexible hero usually pays with that in some aspect as well. So it's not going to be a total wash. And oh my.
Penguin.
We should have gotten a close-up of Kips's face when that happened.
Is that me?
And we get Pangolier picked up, so
I don't know if I think Penguin's actually on that side. Yeah, he's done
Eternal
that.
Envy never fails to surprise and delight,
Well,
right, guys?
we have seen a mid Pango earlier, played by mid one, I believe, because Team Secret used that to win over Liquid, I believe. So this could definitely be,
Now, what would OD Pixel be thinking right
What do
now,
you think,
guys?
Pixel?
He would probably be going off some sideways rant about philosophy. I'm very sure that he would not even try to engage with this pick. No way. He doesn't need to. He doesn't have to. The pick does the comedy for him.
That is strange. That is
5 seconds.
it's definitely not your ideal. Now, again, I haven't gotten the chance to see a lot of Pangos ever since 7.20 especially, but that new Lucky Shot is interesting.
Yeah,
With the mix of the silence and the disarm, and That's great against a hero like Tiny, for example. You know, it's... so I don't know if this is we expect maybe like a Tiny mid and that's why they did this, or if they expect a certain matchup, or if this kind of goes back to that logic. Let's just pick a hero that can do okay no matter the matchup.
I'm just wondering...
enough with Bango.
I'm just wondering if they, you know, because they were confused by Complexity's draft. If Envy's like, let's just make them as confused
Let's
as
go
we
crazy.
are now. Let's just go for it, right? Because it's you know, crunch time. It's now or never. Let's see what we can do. So predictions. Are we thinking that this pay?
I don't.
I'm guessing you're going Complexity.
I don't even know. I would lean towards the Complexity because I guess the Pango pick is a bit of an off the wall, but that's Eternal Envy, and this is what they do sometimes. So.
Yeah, that is. What about you, Kips?
This is a coin flip for me. I think the Flying Penguins is probably the slightly better stack in terms of like having a direction in what they do, but I don't know this direction. And I do know what the lineup of Complexity is supposed to do. So I'm going to go Complexity on this one, I guess, just because I got to go with what I know. And please surprise me, Ii-sama.
This one's tough for me because I want to believe in the Flying Penguins. I want to see, you know, what they can do with this kind of eclectic draft. And I love these sorts of things. Like, I love seeing
also,
something...
you want to be a contrarian. Just do it.
No. I'm going to go Complexity because I don't know if this is limp mid. I still don't know if it's limp mid, but I've seen what he does with Tiny, and it is disgusting. All right. There it is. There is definitely the Tiny I was talking about.
So it is going to be Monkeys on Batrider.
Okay.
So Death's going to be playing the core Nature's Prophet instead.
How do you feel about that, Kips? Because you know Death quite well as a player, right?
I know him a lot better, yeah. I think it's very... I want to see what he can do if he gets like properly empowered to make some plays here. And because they have a mid Tiny now, he's a hero that is... you know, going to be more active. I wonder if Death gets the opportunity to build a little bit more greedy, show off a little bit more. I want to see that. I think this guy has great potential.
I'm also really interested that what? Okay, all right.
Is that Treants?
Yeah,
Treants versus
Eidolons. There we go. There's a nice mini game for
That
everyone.
is the new game mode.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to
hell with auto chess.
Yeah.
Send the minions in and slug it out.
And yeah, Gunnar on the Pangolier. I'm gonna go the other way. NA folks, are you guys familiar with the Gunnar Pangolier?
I am not actually. I'm very excited to see it though.
I can't say I am, yeah.
Monkey's taking a lot of harass here. Don't have that Stormhammer up just yet. Gonna be able to walk away.
So we have, again, which is something we've seen with great success, the Batrider into a melee core. And yeah, Miracle gonna go on to the offlane here as well. The Radiant offlane, you can side pull a little bit easier. It's a little bit harder for the Dire to defend it. Yeah, they're just gonna zone him away from the creep wave immediately.
Oh, look at all the... man, I hate sticky napalm, and I'm sure that these guys are going to absolutely be testing it too with the turn rates being what they are. And I like this. I really do like this Batrider as the position 5, being able to do so much zoning and just make this space and cause problems. And clearly, you know, they're not happy about this, so we'll throw the Stormhammer out over onto Monkeys. Again, Z-Freak, though, going to be able to trade back right at them. But not much farming going on in this lane here for Envy at this point.
Yeah, so the other lanes are where the real farming action is right now.
Remember, coming through, the spin comes out, and Z-Freak actually going to be the first blood.
Last of our kind, but first of this.
Yeah, no chance of a roll right there. Just simply got too far up, I suppose. And it does feel like, at least until level 2, that the Dire side definitely has an advantage. Because Batrider, sticky napalm's annoying, but he's not really doing much with the sticky napalm yet until he has that threat of the Firefly.
Yeah, that lane definitely, like you said, going to be looking a little bit nicer because the fact that the Jug and the Lich combo alone is very, very strong, but throwing in Flea there with the Sven will also cause a lot of problems as he just kind of 1v1s Monkeys over there on the side. But you feel like Complexity, they know this, right? Because they've run this before themselves fairly frequently. So
Flying Penguins, as long as their combining is good, they can always burst down one target, and Complexity has to trade for kills. As soon as the Stormhammer lands on either Z-Freak or Monkeys, they're probably gonna lose that guy. So you better use the other two to focus down, well, probably the Lich.
By the way, mid lane, yeah, that's a one-sided matchup. 15-7 versus 6-0, favoring Limp right now.
I told you. I had to believe in the Limp Tiny. This guy is just a god on this hero. It's the reason why he's a legend for it.
Yeah, I mean, Tiny just really most matchups, of course, is going to have a great time, but it's just rather the opposition being able to just get good CS themselves, and obviously Pango's having a struggle right now. Now he picks it up a little bit with the creep wave pushing in, but yeah, no doubt Tiny is winning this matchup right now, fairly decisively.
Makes you wonder what Gunner's plan is here with this Pangolier, because you assume that he knows that it's going to be a bit difficult.
Almost tossed him back.
Tip.
Yeah, the swashbuckle though, so was just trying to make him use it if anything.
Monkey's forever
wow.
now using
Yeah.
that freshly picked up Firefly to mess with the pole.
I would say he's achieving what he's attempting, for sure. So does this lane start to change now because he does have the Firefly picked up and he's been able to stack so much sticky?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. The hero itself changes completely. Again, the sticky napalm threat's one thing, but when you throw the Firefly on top, that's that, you know, in synergy with one another is what you got to be really scared of. And yeah, as you saw right there, it's actually potentially great for farming off to the side.
Yeah, Snake's going to have to stay so far back because I'm assuming that he's going to be the #1 target on all this because Jug, of course, can be able to spin, and Sven's just a little bit tankier. Has a Storm Hammer, I'm sure, which now he's probably going to be holding more defensively unless they see that perfect opening.
There's still two defensive, like, because you have the Warcry on the Sven as well. Like, it's going to be hard for Complexity to get anyone. Olymp is just straight up telling Gunnar to get out of his lane. That's a nice little bonus for him, though, yeah.
Yeah, trying to toss him back so that he can go grab it for himself, but Pango a little too quick. So we mentioned the mid matchup. How about the bottom matchup, though? It's a 27-14 NP versus a 13-8 Enigma. So Complexity is just destroying both of their solo lanes, and they happen to be winning their try versus try lane right now, at least CS is concerned.
Yeah, but I think more about it is just they are winning by virtue of nobody can roam.
Uh-oh.
And this Pango can't be saved, this Enigma can't be helped out.
All right, well,
Balances it out a little bit.
yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah. And one of these things with Nature's Prophet is that with his animation and the, of course, also the help of his treants, but that guy is so good at denying everything. So as an Enigma, you don't stand, like normally as an Enigma, you try to deny up your Eidolons, right, with each other. Nature's Prophet's gonna do exactly the same, except he has more damage than you, his animation is better than you.
And he has a Blightstone, which is what we see quite a bit.
He has been getting on that Blightstone business. And he's going to be building into the Vlads, actually, so really ready to join his team on these first couple of pushes.
Uh-oh. That was a little bit close there. Gunner, of course, going to swashbuckle his way forward, but...
Seems like Pango, they're going to need him to possibly try to set up a gank elsewhere once he gets that Rolling Thunder going. I mean, that's, off the top of my head, that feels like something that Flying Penguins could try to attempt to do to help him and recover and kind of slow down what's going on elsewhere.
Yeah, Flying Penguins have the better team fight for sure. They're going to have the Lich. Oh, go on the Sven right now.
Yeah, the Stormhammer comes out, followed up the Warcry, Spin coming through. Z-Freak in for a lot of trouble here. I don't think he's going to be able to get away, but yeah, he gets taken down. Monkeys here on the back line, does have the Firefly. He's going to just put out a bit of damage because that's a couple stacks over there on our good friend Flea, but is going to be able to go and literally flee, as his name suggests.
Yeah, this is the trade attempt for Monkeys, and it's very hard for him to deal any damage while both of these defensive abilities are up, but you can see afterwards he can go in. He's extremely fast with that Firefly now as well, plus of course slowing down people with the stack, the napalm stacks. So that was the idea behind the go. They knew that like 90% of the time they were going to lose Z-Freak there. Most importantly, as I said before, they're tying up these supports on the top lane, keeping the wave shoved in, and making sure that their other two winning lanes are completely fine.
Ooh. Oh. That was so close. He almost made it out, but that Wrath of Nature just wrecked him. Oh man, top lane, Eternal Envy. They're going to be able to take down that healing ward, and he's going to try to spin himself to safety. Might be able to find a kill over onto Monkeys too. Monkeys taking a decent amount of damage, but Miracle's there, and he TP's out. He realizes this is not a fight he's going to win.
Top tower is under attack.
Yeah, that was one of those where you get away, the robber looks back and, you know, smirking, and all of a sudden just
Monkeys sitting very, very low.
He Eternal Envy
Envy's
just TP to
find
the
it.
other side
I know,
of his
I just
tower.
noticed that. I just noticed
wow.
that. He's going to be able to get the kill on monkeys, actually. So, nice play coming out here from Eternal Envy. There's going to be the Rolling Thunder, though. Miracle going to have to go use that Rage. And Gunnar just going to try to zip back around again. Not going to be able to quite find it. The rolling coming out from Z-Freak, though. They find Snaking. Snaking in for some trouble. Gunnar also in for a lot of hurt. Will get taken down as we see Z-Freak chasing after Flea. Getting into position here. He's looking to maybe, you know, save his buddy if necessary. Still holding on to that Storm Hammer and the War Cry. Will be forced to turn around. Hits monkeys by the tower, hoping that maybe, you know, something comes out of it. They do eventually take down Snaking, though, with a teleport coming out from Death. Eternal Envy sitting so low, but he does manage to find his way over here to the shrine. And he's taking damage from these trees, but looks like they're satisfied with just getting that pick off.
Did you see the angle on that Z-Freak kick? How many Earth Spirit do you know would have bothered to think like, hey, there's also a fight going on like half a screen away. It's at a way different place. I'm going to use this one stone to do things in both of these fights anyway. That's just what I love about the guy. He really knows his heroes so well, and he gets the most out of them every single time.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, this game, though, Nature's Prophet, obviously, he can be involved, especially in that core role, and a great start that he had. He's still top the net worth, in fact, by 1,000 net worth. He's the first tower he pushes ends up being the opposite lane that he was in, just because how this game is played out now. We're going to finish Power Tread, Z-Freak soaking up experience at the bottom lane meanwhile, but credit to Eternal Envy, honestly. Again, that TP play, it not only allowed him to get a kill, but he ultimately survived after all of that. And his farm is that it's not like it drastically went down. It's actually still keeping up there when you take a look at the net worth over there.
Yes, and Miracle is, like, I suppose he's okay with having to stay in his lane for a little bit. Snaking, are you okay, buddy?
Playing Ring Around the Rosie over here, but maybe gone a little bit too far. Gunnar doesn't really want to deal with Limp, though, because also Monkeys Forever over here. They just toss up a baby tree and are going to try to burn down Snay. Need to be a little bit careful here, Monkeys. Bottom lane, though, they do use the Black Hole, and they find the kill over onto Z-Freak. Limp making the rotation, though, should be able to find a kill here over onto the Sven as he tosses him up in the air. Tiny's Airlines is right on schedule.
Yeah, Black Hole to kill a support when you lose a support in the process, too. It's not the most ideal situation for Flying Penguins there, but obviously couldn't have known that. Hope for the better outcome.
At least they got the Limp TP down to the bot lane, and he's going to be over there for a while now. Like, if you want to take down that bottom tower, it's a pretty good, you know, bonus target to get in the process as well.
Oh, Limp and Gunnar. Gale has rolled his time with a follow-up from Z-Freak. That is a strike there if ever I see one. Now Lella's chasing after Limp, so is Flea. I don't think you chase after this guy right now. Not, yeah, no, you just don't. He's just running away here.
But Death, he's just doing Nature's Prophet things. He's pushing mid tower in the meantime. He's got a Vlad's already finished. He's going to trap up Snake King, who decided to go for a stroll nearby, and he'll be fine, but takes plenty of damage himself. But yeah, Death, the control of Nature's Prophet in this game so far is just ridiculous. And he might as well make his way to the bottom lane next to push that one in.
That's a big stack up top, too, that they're taking together. See, lucky shot coming through and the Rolling Thunder. Death trying to sidestep it, not going to be able to. We'll get a bounce right off with that fear coming out from Snade. Does quite a bit. And Eternal Envy making this rotation. Lelis making his way over as well. There's the avalanche coming through, but the spin from Envy. And of course, Snade, they'll be able to take down Death.
Hanging around a little too long, got the tower kill a good 30 seconds ago, I felt like, and was still trying to push in the lane a little bit, getting distracted by Lich, but at least a free trip back to base.
That's a nice, positive way to look at it.
He's a Nature's Prophet. He can always have a free trip back to base.
Let him have this, Pips. Let him have it.
The mana regens quicker.
There you go.
No, probably not. Got a medallion now, though, so even more fighting presence for the Nature's Prophet. Juggernaut, what kind of build is Juggernaut going to be going for this game? Can he get away with being super greedy in a battle period? Probably not. Although that's kind of died off, hasn't it? More the Yasha Maelstrom,
yes,
if anything.
And you would want something to clear creeps with, because there's going to be a lot of treants in your face this game.
How much longer for Black Hole around Lelis? Okay, 55 seconds. So there's no threat of that right now. Just going to try to push people off the tower. Although Monkeys Forever going to walk right by Lelis. Stormhammer gets used. And Lelis is taking a lot of damage. Limp is going to join in the fight, the toss-up. And see you later, Lelis.
Yeah, Wrath of Nature is an ability you can't overlook either. There's the burst damage that it's consistently doing when they do catch somebody. And of course, that global presence it brings. So Tiny roaming elsewhere. You have that set up. In that case, they happen to be right next to each other. But top 3 net worth all belong on Complexity side now. Complete tempo control of this game. And go back to Juggernaut and how is he going to be able to recover here? He chooses to go drums first, which again is an item that if you are going to be fighting a bit, might as well help you out there.
I do like, it's very, very aggressive coming out from the side of Complexity, seeing them all just kind of grouping up in the woods. They've got some vision up. Do go for the smoke, though, and not sure if that was used more for just a little bit of scouting, because Envy is just beelining towards the top, but you do see Flea down here, placing down some wards, trying to keep some vision up. Is going to possibly run into Limp and Z-Freak, though, and that is not a combo you want to fight. Yeah, the smoke pops over there on both. They know someone's over. There's going to be the, yeah, there it is. There's immediately Stormhammer comes out. Flea says, yeah, no thanks. I need to get out of here. He is stuck in the trees, and the roll comes through, followed up with all those tree babies, and Limp is going to give a helping hand. He gets that kill on Flea.
They're going to move right on into the tier 1 tower push, I imagine. Miracle just picked up his Midas, so he's got his farm amp online, and that means that Envy, since he has not decided to do any such thing, is going to be playing against the clock again. Flying Penguins need to take a couple of really good fights right about now.
Oh, he was trying to get the rolling thunder off, but immediately just gonna get obliterated. There will be no Pango in this fight here. Flea trying to run himself out. And they've got their eyes over here on Death. He is gonna get stunned up, followed up with that Frost Blast toss in the air. He's still alive, actually, not for long though. Eternal Envy sitting very low. Nice front. Oh, they cancel it out. They cancel out the black hole, but they still end up losing. Miracle and Limp. Eternal Envy, he's ticking down pretty hard. Does have some wand charges. Luckily, Z-Freak now trying to get himself away. Just keeps throwing out these stones. It's just creating more of a distraction than anything else. Snake King's gonna get the kill.
We saw a glimpse right there of why Flying Penguins is never really going to be out of this game. Between Chain Frost and Black Hole, two very respectable ultimates you have to be wary of if you're Complexity in this case, and they were not. They dove way too far right there, clearly. Going past the tier 1, they clumped up just enough, and Eternal Envy barely surviving, but he did yet again and allowed for that turn. So again, great job by Flying Penguins, and goes back to, again, Complexity. They can never be too complacent here.
Yes. This is a lineup that's perfectly suited to taking those choke point fights that you need to get back into the game. Especially with, for example, a Pangolier rolling around. If he bounces off a couple of obstacles in his way, you're going to get hit by that Rolling Thunder so much. Then there is, of course, the Lich Hold, Omni Slash, all of the HP that the Warcry is going to give him. It's pretty ridiculous if you think about it. And Miracle's taking a pretty big risk here.
Yeah, will get Malefist up. He's going to have to go pop the rage, run himself out. Now, on the flip side of things, too, right now, because it is such a big team fight ulti, they don't have to worry about that black hole right now.
Yes, Complexity does not have to stop their tempo, and
they're definitely not. In fact, Z-Freak goes right past him. Was just there for moral support, you know, saying you're doing a good job, guys.
That is a really good point, though. When it comes to the cooldown usage of this Radiant side, they're a lot more rapid. Their lineup's built around that. So, yes, as disastrous as that fight was in a turnaround, exactly. They have at least another minute window here before they need to worry about, 95 seconds for Black Hole. God, it just seems like it's longer every time you see it, but they're going to push the tier 2 out of this, I'm sure, as well, because why wouldn't they? Maybe defend mid lane, but yeah, Batrider's just up top as a support Batrider, I remind you, harassing this Juggernaut still, keeping him distracted.
Yeah, I'm actually really liking this this position 5 Batrider. Oh boy. Gunner, he's going to try to run himself back, has the Rolling Thunder, should be able to roll out Autobots, but is forced to use it defensively, and I don't think that's ever really what you want to do with that, whenever possible.
Yeah, and this is, how do you say? This Batrider does need the blink in order to be relevant in the mid game, so Complexity also runs into a little bit of a... They gotta meet up their cores a little bit more than they'd like to, and give that farm priority over to the Batrider.
Oh god, Limp has himself a haster that is...
And they haste.
Yeah, this is... Someone's dying. Someone is dying in the next minute. Look at this guy. It's going to be Gunner. It's going to be... I like how it's patience, but it's also just hyperactivity coming out from this Tiny right now when you do have a haste, you know, seeing if anyone will show up.
Yeah, no surprise he chose to get that Blink Dagger first, especially with, again, how the way this game's going. I almost would like to see a drums again on somebody like him. That individual move speed and also could happen to be used for when the team fights do engage, but Nature's Prophet's caught here.
Yeah, Death in for a lot of trouble. They do have a Lifestealer bomb, and they're going to try to pop out, maybe get this over here. Death still trying to run himself away, and it actually looks like they're going to turn back around now. Eternal Envy facing off a Z-Freak. Needs to be a little bit careful here. Monkey's still standing nearby, has that Firefly up and running. The spin's coming out from Envy. I'm not sure if he was thinking that maybe he wanted to TP out, but it looks like the side of Flying Penguins is going to retreat after Flea was being very patient, hiding in the side of the woods over there, hoping for a pick-off. But that's got strength down now.
Well, Chain Frost is up, Black Hole is up. As soon as they saw that the entire team was there, they bailed. That was not a fight they were wanting to take anymore. And very, very good disengage. A lot of people would have said, all right, you know what, we can get this kill before, you know. No, just don't risk it. Don't do it.
And then every time that they do take this fight, if the Nature's Prophet makes it out alive, he just TPs himself to another lane and just starts doing Nature's Prophet thing.
Yep.
And that's the thing that they don't have a good solution to on the side of Flying Penguins.
Blink on a Batrider now, which means that they can start taking these team fights. If you take out one of their big team fighters before it even happens, ideally you want to force staff still as well, but yeah, they're going to smoke with this Blink. This is their opportunity.
Well, they know where the Enigma is now.
They don't want to engage up into the high ground there, though. I think they want to be looking at a little bit of an
Maybe a Pangolier over here?
lonelier pickup. Could very well be.
Monkey's is gonna find him immediately, trying to run south, but there's the Blink reveal. They get the lasso, and that's just a very dead Pangolier that will not be rolling anywhere.
Yeah, this Pango pick is just not coming through. And again, if it was a matchup purpose for the lane, then well, that failed unfortunately, and they liked it for other reasons throughout the game. Again, he just cannot get any kind of a start going. So he's trying to get the Maelstrom, which, you know, the casual Javelin on this hero, it's good synergy with the Swashbuckle, but it's going to be a while before you can expect Pango to be of use in these fights. But I go back to you, they have Chain Frost, they got Black Hole specifically. As long as they have that ready to go, which is online now, you do have to fear them a bit more of your complexity.
Miracle's going to be careful here.
They're setting up. They're setting up Flea over in the side trees. We can also see, yeah, look at this. There's going to be the Stormhammer opening up with the God Strength. They're going to pull him in. They actually just go and use the Black Hole on this. A couple of these bounces. Those are some typical Envy bounces. The turnaround, though, coming out. The silence going over here on Flea as he's trying to run himself back. In comes Gunner, though. Does have that Rolling Thunder. Manages to bump there over onto Z-Freak. Lella's now in for a lot of trouble. Tiny has his eyes over here right now. And they'll get the bounce back. They'll get the kill on Lella's. They'll take down Snake King. And a gank that, you know, they're thinking maybe this would do something for them, ends up going very, very badly. You see those bounces?
Yeah,
Those are Envy.
It was an all-in play. It was, and I can't blame Flying Penguins for that because they saw the juicy lifesteal. What at the time he was by himself. Those were TPs that came in, and the execution was decent. But they're going to lose another one here on Bango, unfortunately.
Going to be able to buckle down. Oh, Monkeys, though. He's got the Blink if he wants to go for the jump here.
Can he really, like, he has no mana anymore? Can he really 1v1 this?
Well, I was thinking maybe he could.
He's a +5 bad, right? Remember? All right. Never mind. Limp's
Limp's here. Limp says, oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
But yeah, I go back to a play like that, though, on the other side of the spectrum. That's one of those, this game is probably going to be over
Slipping through your fingers.
Because you go for a risk like that, and obviously you can talk about it, debate it whether or not how much it's actually worth it in the end. But when that doesn't work, you lose that fighting power now. And so for the next couple of minutes, yet again, complexity has even a wider window, and you have a Juggernaut who's sitting on a Yasha drums, trying to finish that Manchester style soon, but no one else farming too well to catch Tiny.
Can they get Limp? This would be a pretty big kill if they're able to find it. He's still alive, though. Trying to run himself away. There's a lot of spin damage coming out. Trees will hold him into place. He's going to turn back around. This looks like they'll finally be able to take down Limp. And now Miracle, he's stuck in the middle of 5 different heroes. He's got to use that rage, run himself out. They've got a couple of these supports over here, going to be able to try to keep him alive. Oh, but the Stormhammer, they group up for it. And there's going to be the jump forward coming out from Gunner. He's got that Rolling Thunder. Miracle, he's trying to run himself away as fast as he can. He's not going to be able to dodge away. And now it looks like we're going to be losing Death as well.
Okay, so who needs Black Hole? They're able to fight right there. In a case of they kind of caught them a bit, Tiny specifically, and that was Complexity attempting to respond quickly. They couldn't get there in time, and it fell apart from there. A nice 3-man Stormhammer stun. They take a tower out of this, so...
That's some Savior Buddy syndrome right there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was entirely unnecessary, gotta say.
Well, it all kind of comes down to, like, right now, Limp is kind of the one who's jumping in the middle of all of these plays, right? Sometimes it's the fact that Flying Penguins are initiating, and then they get counter-initiated, but when Limp is out roaming around the map, things are really happening. They're making space. You can see that the Nature's Prophet then has room to, you know, start to split push and whatnot. But when you take him out as early as you do in that, it changes the dynamic quite a bit. But again, it was the Save a Buddy syndrome where you all start running in and then things kind of unravel.
And a reminder that this is not really a split pushing Nature's Prophet, more like a split farming Nature's Prophet. So he can get more farm out of the map than other heroes, but he is still the aura builder for his team. He's been getting first the Vlads, now the pipe as well, which is one of the reasons that they could save Miracle before. It's because there's so much less magic damage on the Radiant.
Oh, they know they're in the pit. They did a scan, and they've got Black Hole up. They need to be really careful. Yeah, it looks like they're already making their way out of the pit. They're like, maybe not a great idea. We don't know where they are on the map. And, of course, Black Hole is up along with everything else that they have.
Yeah, and too, that he almost has Crimson Guard finished as well, so he's going to be ready to go when it comes to providing Sidaras.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Gonna run into these guys here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Limp also making this rotation.
But this is on the shrine.
I don't know about those monkeys. All right, there's the lasso, though, with the Infest Bomb. Miracle just going to try to chop down Flea as fast as they can. We'll be able to find it. And Gunnar actually using the Rolling Thunder in the top lane. He's just going to peace out.
Yeah, they might reset and go for Roshan now, clear this up perhaps, but maybe not long enough, actually.
Yeah.
They don't have enough damage as well. The biggest threat, namely the Black Hole, is still alive.
Oh,
Z-Freak
finding himself a lot of friends over here. There's going to be toss up over here on Snaking. He's trying to get his spells off. He manages to get the Chain Frost, but immediately the Delta split. Eternal Envy coming into the fight now. We'll be able to use the Omni Slash here over onto Death, but the Delta Hug coming in now this time around. Eternal Envy spinning around, chasing after Limp. Gunnar trying to find whatever he can get, and if they can get into position, Lelis throwing out that Malthus. They're all grouped up over here. This could be the most perfect Black Hole if he wanted to go in for it, but immediately, again, just the movement coming out from Complexity as they split themselves off. Lee finding himself Miracle. They really want this. Tree's going to come out, follow with the Roar Kai. Going to be able to pull them all in using that Sinister Gaze. Again, Lelis being very, very patient. Still has that Black Hole. It's not looking like they're going to need it, though, because Z-Freak, he tries to roll himself out. He's not going to be able to find it. The toss back coming out from Limp will be able to take down Gunnar, and now they're going to chase them right down this mid lane. Eternal Envy is super speedy, but they'll back off. They're happy with that fight. They did lose Gunnar, but they managed to take down the Life Stealer, and they found Z-Freak.
That's value.
I think I understand what Z-Freak was thinking there with his engagement, because he saw Juggernaut TP away. He probably just assumed he TP'd back to base. He actually TP'd to the shrine right there. And so when he engaged, it might have caught him off guard that actually Juggernaut was there ready to fight instead. And again, whenever you're fighting into an uphill position like that in the first place, it's always going to be a bit riskier than not. So Flying Penguins happen to make a good response, and yeah, Eternal Envy, that's a couple of times now where he's TPing to maybe different locations than you'd expect, and it's kind of worked out for him.
It's very hard as Complexity to take that fight. Not only are they engaging up into the high ground, as like Moxie was narrating there as well, they need to constantly split so they don't get Black Hole, and that's messing with them actually syncing up their abilities. Always going in, out, like unless they can burst a target, they have to usually stop hitting someone halfway through just because the threat of the Black Hole coming in is so big.
And hats off to Lelis, too, for just being super, super patient, because there were a couple times where he might have been able to just grab one of those heroes, but he just waited very well. He still has that Black Hole up if he wants to go in, like they are in the Roche pit right now. Doesn't have a Blink Dagger, though, so that's going to be very difficult for him to really get in the thick of things. But
and he's skipping it as well. He's going straight BKB.
Well, they do have, actually, no, they don't have any solutions over on their side. Never mind. JK, other than just the Bat Rider lasso. Right?
Yeah, the lasso's the only thing right now.
But they've kind of been opening with that. So if they don't grab the Enigma, if Lelis is sitting far enough back, it's fun. Oh, there it is. There's a full BKB now on our Enigma.
So it's a matter if Bat Rider, again, he has to maybe be wary of that, and he might use his engagement here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're gonna go jump on Gunnar. That Wrath of ooh, Nature does so much damage. Death claiming the kill on the Pangolier.
Always a good time for party horns.
Indeed. Are they going back into the pit again? This is now the fourth time.
This is a very yeah. This is Roshan Diaries, day number 4. We've attempted to get back into the pit, and we finally found ourselves a pick-off.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned too much about Lifestealer's build, by the way. He went the Hand of Midas first, but not going the Radiance decision. We went the Armlet, and now we see a Desolator, and he's going to go a full AC on top of this. So this screams to me that this is Complexity wanting to finish this game sooner than later, especially when it comes to sieging. and taking advantage of objective. So they do get the Roshan kill, they get Aegis on Lifestealer, and they're just going to quick reset here and most likely look to push tier 3.
Yeah, this is also the higher burst damage build, so really suited to picking someone off, going out, then going in to pick someone off again, instead of, you know, exposing themselves to this big team fight threat.
We see some movement making their way down to the bottom lane, though, and again, they have the BKB up and running on Enigma, and it is an early BKB, so you almost wonder if they're hoping to catch them off guard with it. The Batrider just keeps jumping. A lot of times it's Flea, too. They're jumping over on Flea as the target here, so...
Well, Flea is also the one who's making himself the most available. Someone's got to be in front, and
someone's got to be the meat
is,
shield.
yeah. He is the definition of a meat shield, I think. He does have a blink dagger up now, though.
Got a full pipe over here, and then he profit. So what's the plan? Do you just... Okay, never mind.
There you go.
There's the plan. Hello, monkeys. And Lifestealer. Doing a little bit of hunting here. They do have a gem, too, over on the Batrider. So, oh, Limp is going to join in the party. Are they going to find anyone now is the question. Because I'm pretty sure anyone who's caught out right now is just insta-dead with this combo here.
Yes, but Death needs to be very careful himself. Because I thought that monkeys would be making the spin string movement, but instead he's not. And Death knows there's people nearby. He's been getting Eternal Envy illusions, boosting them all the time, and there they go in.
Yep, Stormhammer opens up with God Strength, lots of damage. Actually, he even used the Chain Frost, pulling him in, using the Goo Goo Eyes over here, and Death followed up with an Omni Slash. See you later. Oh, but Limp coming back in. He says, man, how dare you do that? Chasing after Envy now. That Avalanche, of course, not going to be able to slow him down at all, but Monkeys still has that lasso. He's got this Lifestealer, and it looks like they're just going to have to be satisfied with a Frosty Fend over here. Although staking, okay, yeah, they just end up cleaning up, letting Limp hit that.
Great trade for Flying Penguins right there.
Yeah, but I mean, even with that death, though, dude, you just see how tanky Nature's Prophet actually is because of his build. But it was enough. And you have an Abyssal Blade for Juggernaut coming. That's going to be a nice pickup for him, specifically with the Lifestealer. Have great lockdown, can give him a chance to kind of man mode against him now, whereas before maybe you wouldn't feel as confident. And that was something I was also assuming we were going to see on Lifestealer as well, because not only with the Juggernaut matchup himself, but a BKB stopper now for the Enigma. That he has that.
They're going to have to give Monkeys some more time, either on the lane or in the jungle, to get a 4-staff up, I think, because he needs all of the mobility items he can get in order to... Oh, he's going Glimmer instead? That's also a positioning tool. And make sure that he can grab that.
No, I hear a lasso. Oh, yep, there's not going to be a black hole this time around.
Not someone else, but the man himself. That's a party horn for sure. Gunnar?
That was very smart. Gunner's got to roll on out here. There's a lot of people chasing after him, but the TP,
yes.
That seems a bit silly that you're allowed to do that.
Well, at least Juggernaut's not allowed to TP during Omni Slash anymore.
Yeah, that was very question mark.
Anyway, one of the reasons why the Pango is nice to have still is because he is so good at blowing up waves, and you could see that the trees of the Nature's Prophet were just going...
Limp just diving in the back, throws out a creep. And oh, it's gonna get pulled in by Snaking. They actually use the Chain Frost, and there's plenty of targets for it to bounce against, but Z-Freak now sitting kind of too far back in all of this, will get eaten up by that Omni Slash.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Zach was thinking there.
I don't know, he got too excited, and they're going to be able to turn this around. They actually go and they pop the Aegis Monkey. He's trying to run himself out. He is silenced and disarmed thanks to that Lucky Strike here. Will get taken out, and Miracle now with the dash coming out here from Envy. He's going to try to get away. Lelis, he does have the Black Ball. I think he wants to hold on to it right now, and he'll be able to go follow up with the Stormhammer, and they'll slice him apart.
I think it's trying to infest on one of their creeps, if anything, but they have an idol on spawn, so... Well, it might have been caught on. The point is, yeah, I go back to, I don't know what Z-Freak was thinking, that was a very sloppy... Now, they did get the racks, so after all of that, they did accomplish that mission of taking out the melee rack, so in hindsight, maybe not the worst thing ever, but again, the decision-making seemed a little off there from Complexity, and they definitely can't feel like they're overwhelmingly in the lead at this point, because they're not, and no matter how much of a lead you have, I still go back to the black hole specifically you got to worry about.
And EE has now finished his Abyssal Blade, so right now Miracle can't actually go toe-to-toe with him.
They saw that Gunnar actually picked up Guardian Greaves there.
Yeah. Saw the mech earlier, that makes sense.
Yeah. Is that... I'm not super familiar with the style of Pango.
It's a style, it's more of the offlane Pango. When we were seeing Pango a little bit, we saw offlane Pangos definitely build these Guardian Greaves and be more of that utility. But being the mid Pango, yeah, to me, I feel like this is a bit of a reaction to the game, though, right? Because his start was horrible. Well, they needed something that would help the fighting overall rather than his greed of individual damage.
Well, I remember Kip saying that when your cores start to fall behind, that you tend to go more like a little bit utility. So in this sense, that definitely fulfills that box, being able to have the Greaves and being able to sustain a little bit better in these fights.
Yes, they're definitely still under assault right now. And with the BKB of the Sven, they're going to look to see if they can turn that around, maybe.
They did get a BKB on Tiny, too. Everyone's, everyone's get the BKB.
Real quickly, Eternal Envy just did something not many people do, I feel like. And I've always thought about this, but he bought another recipe of drums. And it does refresh your drum charges, so it goes from 0 back up to 6 now. It's a late use, to have these drum charges into this game, but it's not the most gold in the world, and it allows you a little bit more fighting power now as a team.
All right, a little bit of ships passing in the night here. Have a bunch of the people on the side of Complexity are hanging out in the dark jungle, and vice versa here. Coming out from Flying Penguins. They feel anxious to fight. Should they feel anxious to fight, Kips?
I mean, it's always good to get this pressure back up. Right now, they've actually shoved in this mid-wave. But that makes it also very easy for Complexity to see where they are.
You see that?
One of the big problems of having had the gem over on Monkeys is that there is just no dire vision on the map.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Dire's top tower is under attack.
All right, I thought, that Pincering was looking pretty scary for like half a second. Again, they still have the Lifestealer Bomb. Miracle spending some time inside Monkeys. They'll go for another smoke, but...
They had the ward there, though. That's how they saw them in the first place, but...
Swoop in.
No, but they managed to go and find themselves a pick off. Nice and easy. Like Gunnar is just out of here. And there's the jump forward. They'll find a kill on Flea. He's too dead before he can even use that BKB.
Yeah, even though he got that kill, I guarantee you, he's like, ah, crap. They had a chance to get Eternal Envy there, actually. He was TPing right in front of them, and yeah, definitely could have lasted him instead. But Gem does go back to Batrider and could even choke them out that much more now.
All right, we got a sheep online here. Sheep stick over on the Nature's Prophet, so even more lockdown. So I think Monkey's #1 target again is most likely going to be the Enigma if they go in for any big team fights, just because of the fact that, he does have the BKB and he's got the BKB piercing disable there. But with the sheep coming up as well,
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
he's going to have going to be able to have even more control during all of these fights, and they're going to get a lot of these runes too.
All 4 runes. Good.
No.
Do I have Complexity?
No Monkeys. Oh yeah, sorry, derp.
What level is Nature's Prophet, by the way? We're not at the 20s. Okay, yeah, still not there. 25 though on Nature's Prophet is ridiculous in that no teleport cooldown, which I would think he's going to get here. So that's going to be a big mark for him to hit. But again, that's still a bit more time left.
All your runes belong to us, among other things, right?
Butterfly coming for Juggernaut. I mean, his farm is the item progression is showing. I believe we saw the Abyssal Blade was queued up though on Lifestealer as well, as kind of predicted there. Again, both man up against the Juggernaut now a little bit better himself, as well as the Enigma Stopper. Which we have not seen a black hole since that BKB, right?
No. Well, Complexity's been playing this so well. You see them, they start to group together a little bit for these fights, and then they realize, oh, we have to move apart, and then the Jug ulti comes through, and they hug each other again, and it's almost like ballet in a sense, right? The dance movement of just in, out, moving all around, and just in synchrony. It's just beautiful. But that's going to be the Aegis picked up here. Miracle's going to hold on to that, and I believe the cheese gets picked up by Tiny. Yeah, they are. Thank you, Swift. But that's a big, scary Rockman with a double damage.
Yes, and he's going to have to be the one who jumps first so that the Batrider can get to the reaction, I presume, here on the high ground. Unless they want to do it the other way around. The problem is just that the Tiny cannot stop the BKB Enigma. Whereas the Batrider definitely can.
I do like how they're shoving in all these waves, though, making them split up a little bit, try to deal with them.
Kind of to that point, Kips. I was thinking about that earlier as, you know, I'll talk about that after.
Yeah, just because we're going right on in here. Envy, okay, there's the Abyssal getting used over here. They do have the Lotus Orb. They'll be able to go drop down that Midnight Pulse. Envy. Oh, no, I guess it was a bash.
It was the Abyssal Blade, yeah. Lifestealer Bomb, though, they've been throwing it in Batrider constantly. And I was thinking about that, how, again, Batrider being that last little stopper for the BKB Black Hole, it would almost make sense for Lifestealer to be inside of the Tiny instead, so that when they do jump in, then Batrider can sit back and wait rather than having to jump in with the Lifestealer first.
All right, Miracle. Siege attempt number 2. Envy, giving them the spins. Uh-oh, Flee.
Glimmer.
Getting very excited there. Gonna try to push out this mid as well. Limp still hanging out in that mid lane. They spread out with this movement here coming out from the side of Complexity.
Yes, and I can see Gunnar on the bot lane now as well, having to deal with that.
All right, that's immediately getting forced in there. The stun coming through. They do finally finish up the tower. Glimmer being able to save him again. Still holding on to that Aegis. I think you're just gonna see Lifestealer go and heal up a little bit here in the jungle.
Some good teamwork right there. And he actually gets, 20% evasion. That's a very key talent for the Lifestealer. We see they usually would get that.
All right, smoke coming out, though, from the side of Flying Penguins. Gonna run directly into Limp over here. The throw up into the air, and the Omni Slash, they go and they stun him up too, but the rest of the team is standing nearby. There's the BKB coming out now. Envy still trying to find this opening, not gonna be able to find it. They've got the Rolling Thunder going on here in the back lines. Miracle kind of stuck in the middle, but Envy's still spinning around. They're waiting. They have that black hole, and they're just, look at this positioning. It's so good. They're not grouping up at all. They know that there's a huge threat. They don't want to have to deal with it. Midnight Pulse gets placed down, thinking maybe optimistically they're gonna group up, but they do manage to pop that Aegis. So
it is like a, a dance here, as you're mentioning earlier.
No Abyssal Blade right now. We'll get a couple of these little bashes, though. Miracle gonna have to go rage up, run himself away. The rest of the team, are they gonna chase, though? Limp standing nearby, being very patient. They drop a sentry ward. Look at all the vision all over this place here.
Top lane is being pushed in during this, so they're gonna have to address that.
And I believe,
and
the bottom racks also fell.
I think you're happy with that if you're Complexity.
Yeah, of course. That's
losing Aegis, but you get some buildings.
Yes, the cheese was also used by Limp there just in case of a re-engagement. So most of the benefits they had from taking the Roche are gone out. They did get that mid tower though. Or sorry, that top tower, I believe.
Yeah, the top tier 3 earlier there.
We knew what you meant. It's in the middle of 2 racks.
Yeah.
Again, though, the really disciplined play coming out from Complexity, but also disciplined play coming out from the side of Flying Penguins, too. Again, Lilith just holding on to that black hole, waiting for the opportune moment here.
Yeah, this goes back to yesterday again in that very one-sided game due to the draft and the loss. They know how to hold.
Yeah, they've got their eyes over here on the Tiny. The BKB is going to come out. He's going to try to burst down. Oh boy, Gunnar sitting pretty low. He's actually going to TP himself out here. Stun coming out over here onto Limp. He's trying to get himself away. Lelis getting into position. He's all silenced up. They'll still be able to find him. That's going to be his amount of damage. The top lane is just getting chewed apart right now. The Hex coming out from the Nature's Prophet as they're just going to try to burn down Gunnar. There's going to be the lasso dragging him back right now. Followed up with that Chain Frost, though. We'll be able to get a bounce or two, but definitely not enough that they need right now. And they're just going to lose Monkeys forever, and they're going to lose Miracle. So they'll take another building, but they also lose quite a bit there.
Oh man, I think Monkeys just killed Miracle by going in there. He's like, hey, guess what? I've got something extra, but that just meant that his Lifestealer was not walking back anymore, but going back in instead. And the cavalry was already arriving. There was no space for that. So they make the best situation out of a bad situation by using all of that time bought for them by the Tiny to take more buildings down. But on the other hand, lose more heroes in the process than was strictly necessary.
Yeah, it seems like everyone else honestly should have probably responded to the Tiny and let Nature's Prophet do his thing. I mean, that's one of his strengths in a game, is that he's going to be able to split push and take objectives like that by himself. Or again, if they TP'd in and helped that Tiny for as long as he survived, they could have definitely combated that. But
it's a team fight NP though. Like,
true. The way he's built, yeah.
I get what you're going at there, but I think it's the more business-like decision to just let the Tiny, drag as much time as possible, especially because you don't want to be fighting into this team fight. And right now, all of this team fight is right at your doorstep.
Yeah, still have Black Hole.
Yeah, I think actually it ended up being a good thing that the Enigma ended up getting silenced there, because it felt like almost he was thinking, okay, maybe I need to blow this, maybe I need to get onto the high ground, and just that silence coming out saved him the difficult task of making that decision.
And he's building a Lincoln's, by the way, so he will actually be unstoppable pending it being taken off before or it being lasso as well as an Abyssal Blade combo.
Yeah, he's hella wealthy too. He's got Boots of Travel online, so wherever the fight's breaking out, Lelis will find a way to be there. 150 gold per minute.
Yep, at level 15 talent.
He's balling.
It's always been a CDR, I personally, and I know many others value as like one of the greater talents in the game, but yeah, when you have the choice to go 150 gold per minute at level 15 instead, then I could see why.
And he has been playing from behind as well.
Yeah.
Which you cannot disregard.
All right, well, the Dire's grouping up over here around their base, trying to shove out these waves, and Complexity, they go for another smoke, another Lifestealer bomb.
Once again infested into that Bat Rider.
Yep.
Just gotta pray that Monkeys doesn't get too excited here and jump in and then immediately get blown up. But
then again, you gotta realize that Monkeys is also the way more expendable party, right? When they counter engage, most likely Miracle can survive it, but whoever else coming with him is also just stuck in the middle of the fight.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I was going to say if he pushes out there one more maybe, but no, he wasn't going to take that risk. Stays back, and again, Flying Penguins, this team knows how to grind out when they are down early. So they understand how to hold their base and how they should be going about it, but it's still a pretty difficult game. I mean, the net worth has been cut in quite a bit, but even with that top situation, they did get a racks out of it. So it's not like that was a complete lost cause for Complexity and what happened there.
Yeah. Not that graph, my goodness.
It's the amount of counter push on Flying Penguins though, and this is like Eternal Envy, he does this on purpose. He gets so much wave out push every single time so that, you know, every single time, even if you get a Rax, it doesn't matter too much. He can push it out. If you get Mega Creeps, you're still going to have to fight him because his entire lineup can always push you back.
Yeah. Pengo's going the Lotus Orb as well over the Basher, which he had queued up earlier. He actually has about 3,500 gold now saved up, so Basher could be coming.
Just I saw a Firefly and a Bat Rider Blink being popped basically at the same time. Like,
something's got to be happening.
But no, I think a couple of illusions maybe made his way over there.
All right, Snake King.
Well, something happened there, all right.
Wondering if he was just trying to ward or something over there, but gets popped. Yeah, he's got wards on him, most likely, trying to put a little vision up for his team, but Limp not allowing that at all.
It's a very long Roshan respawn, and that's to the benefit of Flying Penguins. It was, yeah, about 2.5 minutes or so. So still another 2 minutes before Complexity will be able to even attempt Roshan if they wanted to. Flying Penguins can keep just holding for now.
Okay. Guessing they just want to put that on cooldown right away?
That's interesting. Do they think they're doing Roshan? Is that why?
Possible. They
don't have any information, yeah.
Yeah, they don't. They have a scan. I mean, they could have scanned if they were really that suspicious.
I don't know.
Huh.
We do not know.
But like that is a good point, Moxie. You know, the sooner you use it here, the sooner it will come off cooldown. So if you still expect this game to last, you know, another 7-8 minutes, then.
And they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they're hopeful.
Yeah. But
that's what they've been aiming for from the start.
Oh, the MKB getting picked up now on this Lifestealer. All of a sudden, that butterfly not as big of a factor here. And I think Lifestealer also took the evasion talent, right, too?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this right onto the high ground. The blink comes out, though. Z-Freak now is in no man's land, but they will take out Flea here. Now Eternal Levy having to run himself out. Snake King as well, trying to protect him the best that he can, but Limp's going to jump in. They're looking for this opening. They'll be able to go kill down Snake King. There's the Rolling Thunder coming out as Lula's also trying to run away. Z-Freak will get taken down. Envy's still alive, but he's just him and Gunnar over here. He needs some support. Lula needs to get back in there. He's going to be able to maybe burst down. Yeah, they just take down Envy. He is out of here. There's going to be the buyback, though. They are grouped up. Gunnar has that Lotus Orb up, trying to run himself away. There's so much damage. The toss comes up, and that's a triple kill coming out for Limp.
Yeah, the idea was it was great from Flying Penguins, but the gaze, it just didn't go enough into the ledge. He went up on the ledge, but he didn't go through the trees. They couldn't get to him. He was able to blink up black hole.
Black hole coming up, but they don't catch nearly enough. They'll be able to go pull over Bat Rider, though. There's going to be the death taking place over on their Miracle, trying to run himself away. We'll go for an infest. Rolling on out there with Z-Freak. I think that's a 5 stars right there, Bricky. I know you never say give 5 stars, but the roll back in with the lasso, they're going to drag NV right back out again. Party horn going up. He is down for 117 seconds. BKB popped over here on Limp. There's a jump forward, and Lilith, he's actually going to be able to get another black hole in the middle of everything here. They're going to be able to go take down Miracle. Is it enough to check it around, though? And they'll be able to take down Tiny, too. Z-Freak trying to just fight his way out of here, trying to go for the roll. Not going to be able to find it, and as all this is going down, do you find that Flea on the backside? He's looking after Death, looking after Monkeys, and he's still going. Gunner rolling. Is he going to find Death? No, Lilith will be able to get it, though. There's going to be the toss out coming out from the Tiny as he tried to burst him down. The BKB going to get used. He's so tanky. They've got to run themselves back, although it looks like the side of Flying Penguin's going to retreat into their base.
Well, Lilith's doing what he can. The double black hole, bought that refresher instead, went all in on that build, and of course holding it off, but it does feel like it's going to be too little too late. They're using buybacks aggressively as complexity, so actually Tiny does need to be careful here because it would be a dieback for him, but
there's no double black hole this time, though.
Yeah.
That was a big surprise. They will use the Sinister Gear to pull in the slice here. Oh, but the jump forward coming out from Flea. He's here again. Does have that Lotus Orb on Gunner. Trying to fight through here. Chain Frost will get used. Get a couple bounces over here. The BKB coming out from Limp, though. It's going to make it so he is not affected by this for the most part. And the Disarming coming out again. Miracle popping out. Says, surprise! Look, go and just... Oh, boy. They just shred through them. The GG gets called. Complexity taking game number 1.
Yeah. That was, you know, part of me is like Flying Penguins. Again, we go back to, we know this team can play very well. We've seen several examples of that now back-to-back games, but they just put themselves with the draft specifically. And in this case, it maybe wasn't as clear of an outdraft from the beginning, but it does go back to the Pango. The Pango got destroyed in the middle lane, and he felt like a very underused hero throughout. It's like, why did you pick up Pango at that point? And they had something in mind clearly, but if they're going to put themselves behind like that with the draft, then no matter how well they play, it's hard to climb out of that hole there. So,
yeah, I'm a little confused by that. I mean, we were already confused by the Pangolier pick during the draft, but then especially like later on, he couldn't get any sort of a footing. Nothing seemed to be working out for him there. What do you think, Kips?
But that's not really the purpose of the pick there. Like, I think in general, what they were aiming for, and I said this during the draft as well, you have this lineup where you're not sure who's going to go where. The enemy can do anything they want, so you pick something that you feel comfortable with. And Pango makes sense for Gunner because it is a mobile hero that you can outplay with and you can farm waves with it very fast. It looks a lot like, you know, the Puck, the Kunkka, the Ember Spirit in that regard. And then what an Eternal Envy team likes to do, as I keep repeating, is they're going to be behind most likely, but there's always going to be a contingency. So Pango two-shots waves with his mobility as well as with the shield crash. So what they aimed for was to get the game to go later and put themselves in this spot where they can win off of, you know, for example, a missing buyback on the other team, which they have done before. So yeah, I can see why they went with it. I think they also didn't expect the Pango to get wrecked that hard in the middle lane.
True.
You think it comes down to the fact that they had a bit of ambiguity within their draft?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also a lot of bans. A lot of Gunner-based bans.
And yeah, we can't put it all on Pango because, again, even the trial lane, even Eternal Envy was having a lot of struggle early on. And it's just, again, across the board, the lanes weren't really set up to win necessarily. It's just, you know, Juggernaut Lich, there's nothing wrong with that, though. You can't, it's hard to criticize those two picks when it comes to the draft there. But obviously on the other side, Complexity, credit to them. Their draft was, albeit a bit unique for their play style, but that's what you got to do, of course, play to your strengths, and they did, and deserve that victory. So they're up 1-0.
All right, so let's get those points on the board.
Yes.
Looks like I'm still
So who did we all go with Complexity?
I believe we all went with Complexity,
yes.
except for Production, who did not give us a prediction. So no points for Production.
Not in time.
Gotta.
Oh well.
You gotta risk it for the biscuit, man. All right. Well, we're gonna come back with game number 2. Can the Flying Penguins get themselves back into this, or is Complexity going to just keep on trucking? We'll take a short break and I'll find out.